Hi, my name is Brandon, and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. One of the first things that was told to me when I got to treatment, when I was staying at an in-person treatment center for substance use disorder, one of the first things they said is, okay, every morning you got to make your bed. And I thought, not this. Because for my entire life, I had been told by people that I needed to make my bed in the morning, whether it was my mom or my wife, and I never understood it. Why make the bed? Who cares? Most places that I've lived, I'm the only one going in the bedroom anyway. Or at my house, me and my wife are the only people who go in the bedroom. Most days, besides our son, we're the only people in our house. Who are we making the bed for? And it took a while at my treatment center and my time doing this for me to start to realize the value in making the bed. And that's what Tommy Rosen talks about in Recovery 2.0 today. He puts it really well. I want to read what he says. He says that he talks about being forced to make the bed at the beginning because he couldn't eat breakfast without it. They wouldn't let him have breakfast until someone had come in and inspected his bed and made sure that it was made the proper way. And so he did it because he had to. There was no other way to get food if he didn't do it. But he says, at some point my perspective shifted from tending to responsibilities because of potential consequences to doing things because I actually wanted to. This is the beginning of the development of an identity of one's own. My attitude at the beginning of those 50 days was rebellious and contemptuous. This sucks, but I have to do it or I don't get to eat. My attitude at the end was, I can't explain it and I certainly won't admit it, but I feel good when I make my bed. And I'm good at doing it. Shit, I might not be good at anything else today, but I am going to be good at this. Big shift. On some deep level, I began to grasp the idea that a seemingly mundane act, such as making my bed, could have an effect on the rest of my day. It was a calming, centering starting point. There is simplicity in making your bed, and simplicity is among the greatest gifts you can cultivate in your life. Making my bed when I first get up slows me down for a moment and gives me shelter from the acceleration of thought that takes place each morning. Once your thinking gets momentum, you're off to the races, and simple acts which require you to slow down and pay attention are often pushed to one side. Making your bed is one small step out of your head and into your heart. It is a great, simple example of acting one's way out of bad thinking. That last sentence, acting your way out of bad thinking, is incredibly important to all recovery, and to all behavioral and emotional and mental change in general. A lot of times, in my life, I've tried to think my way out of bad thinking. I've been thinking things I didn't want to, or that I know weren't right for or helpful for me to think, and I've tried to what I call logic my way out of them. I've tried to think around them and convince myself to think otherwise. It usually doesn't work. Usually I have to act my way out of things. And that's what I've learned in recovery, is that I've got to take some kind of action. And a lot of times it's not even trying to convince myself that what I'm thinking is wrong. It's just doing something so I stop thinking it. And then my brain will kind of work things out on its own, and eventually I'll look back on whatever I was thinking and it stops making sense, and then I don't have to think about it anymore. But I have to do some sort of action. I can't just sit there like I used to do in my addiction and try to think through things in order to get them out of my head. It just doesn't work. So that action can be all sorts of things. It can be helping others, going to a meeting, talking to a fellow addict. It can be doing something that I enjoy, like reading or exercise or watching a movie. But a lot of times we need to preemptively take some kind of action. And that's what making the bed is for me. In the morning, I can get up, and first thing when I get out of bed, I can turn around and make it. And this is important for a few reasons for me now. One is that it is a simple act of getting up and doing something, of taking an action. And that gets me going in the right direction. It helps me start my day by acting with purpose and intention. When I get up and make the bed, my thoughts are typically around, okay, what should I do to make this day, not make this day, what should I do to help this day flow in as cohesive a way as possible. It's the best way I can think to put it. The other reason that I like to make the bed in the morning is that I know my wife really, really likes the bed made. And I used to just say, well, then she can make it. That's the kind of person I was in my addiction. I was like, well, if she wants it made, she can make it. I'm just not going to have anything to do with it because I don't care. And so for me, making the bed in the morning is also, as corny as it sounds, an expression of love, because now I've moved, I'm trying to continually move out of the thinking of, well, you do what's important to you and I do what's important to me, and let's not, bother each other about it, to thinking of other people in my actions and really considering other people and their emotions and what they want and need in what I do. And so when I start each day by thinking, my wife really likes it when the bed is made, she's usually up earlier than I am, let me go ahead and do this. That gets me going in that direction of thinking about other people. I'm not saying that, I'm perfect by any means. There's plenty of times during the day after that where I might do something out of selfishness. But it also creates some awareness in me so that when that happens, I can see it and correct it as needed. So, over time, over the past couple of years, I've gotten a lot of different answers to my original question of why make the bed? And it's something that just makes sense for me. And you hear this a lot in the recovery community. And in fact, I know recently there's been a book written that's about the value of making your bed and other small things that you can do that add value to your life. And so I thought it was really interesting that Tommy mentioned this in his book, because for him as well, it was an important part of making a shift in his identity from a person who didn't care to a person who did something because if he didn't do it, he'd get punished for it, to a person who did something because he found value in it. And it became part of his identity. And that's where I feel like I am. I feel like when I start each day by trying to make my bed, that makes the rest of the day just a little bit more manageable. Even on the days that feel like they aren't. When I go into the room at night and see that bed still made there, I know that at least I got one thing right. And some days, that's all that matters. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow with more. Have a good one.